Welcome to the Grow Your Business and Grow Your Wealth podcast with Gary Heldt. Gary is an expert in helping business owners put together a plan that will provide a better future for their businesses, themselves, and their families. On the podcast, Gary interviews other professionals who share his vision, and together they share secrets and strategies any business owner can use to build a better financial foundation for your business and your life.
Welcome back to the podcast. This week, our guest is Amy Gowan, who is the president and CEO of the Anne Arundel Economic Development Corp. Welcome, Amy.
Thank you for having me, Gary. Great to be here.
Great, thank you. Amy, tell us, what is the Anne Arundel Economic Development Corporation?
Well, as we were just discussing, it's the best kept secret for businesses, right? And I think that's not just that's not just specific to our county, but that's something that economic development organizations, or EDOs, as we're called in the profession, kind of face, I think, nationally, right? Is how do we better communicate who we are to the business community? Basically, we are a privatized function of local government in the form of a 501c3. And that's how we operate here in Anne Arundel. At some point it was decided that, making us a 501c3, while we are providing what would be akin to a local government service, we're privatized, so that allows us to go after grant money and outside funding, and it gives us more flexibility with our procurement and other types of business operations. But we basically exist to serve the business community in Anne Arundel County. So whether it's a large corporation to a family-owned small business, an entrepreneurial endeavor, startups, businesses that are looking to scale up, we host a number of different services. Just in a nutshell, and I know we'll get a little bit more in depth into some of the services, but the form of those, it looks like financing. We help with site selection. We do research and data analysis on just the economic indicators in general for the county. We provide assistance with permitting and zoning when businesses want to locate within the county. We do workforce development support. We're just starting to dip our toes into community revitalization, so that's a new function for us, and redevelopment. I can talk a little bit more about what we're doing there. And then we do business counseling. So we have a variety of programs, whether you're starting up or whether you're looking to scale up. We have different types of business counseling and business accelerator programs that we offer.
So talk about some of those programs that with the business development side, because you guys have programs for those that are just getting into the business or thinking about getting into it, and those that have already been in business for a number of years.
Mm-hmm.
Can you talk about those?
Sure.
And how they differ?
Yeah. And so, if we go out, let's say we do business visits, right? So we go out, we sit down with an employer or a business startup, and, we find out what stage they're in. And then we try to identify resources that we either have or that maybe a partner agency has. For example, Anne Arundel Workforce Development Corporation is a sister agency of ours, and they just focus on workforce development. So a lot of times if there are specific workforce needs, we'll do a referral over there. We'll work closely with them. We contract with the Small Business Development Center. The SBA has business counselors. They do primarily the business counseling work for us for startups. They do business planning and kind of all of that, like business development for a new business that's looking to start up. We have a program that we launched in 2021. It's called the Inclusive Venture Program, or IVP for short. Mm-hmm. And that program is basically, it's for small women, minority-owned businesses that are looking to scale up. So they've been in business for over 2 years. They're generating positive cash flow, and they're at the point where they're like ready to get to the next level. But they need some monetary financial assistance, and they also need some specific, business counseling, mentoring assistance. So we partner with Will Holmes Consulting. He's a consultant. He's based out of Baltimore. He provides the curriculum. So we offer this. It's basically an 8-week accelerator program. And you meet once a week for 8 weeks. You're in a cohort of usually around 10 to 12 other business owners in that same kind of life stage as you are. And the curriculum provides, counseling, education, and we have specific subject matter mentors that come in. So we have accounting help, a tax mentor, human resources. And at the end of the program, once you complete the program, you receive a $5,000 grant from us, from AAEDC. And then after 18 months, we'll connect back with those businesses. We'll do a little survey to see how they're doing longitudinally. And then you get another $5,000 grant from us at that point, if you're obviously still in business. And so that program has been tremendously successful.
Yeah.
We started in 2021. We just graduated our 100th business on last Wednesday.
That's awesome.
We had a large event, graduation and social event for all of our graduates. County Executive Stuart Pittman was there. We gave out some awards. We graduated our 100th business, which was really exciting for us. But the other piece that I think is very unique and also really special about the program is that it provides this social network or a support network for these businesses. They go through these cohorts together, they get to know one another. And then what we try to do is foster this kind of IVP community so that once you've gone through the program, we provide opportunities to connect all these businesses. They can provide resources to one another, they can support one another. And we've seen a lot of great connections form just through our IVP network, which is obviously 100 and growing at this point. So that's a little bit, well, probably a lot about some of the business counseling and mentoring programs that we offer. We provide capital financing. So we're a lender to small businesses. We don't like to compete with commercial banks. But we're here to support absolutely our businesses that go through our programs. But we're also a fund manager for the state of Maryland for their video lottery terminal funds. So the VLT programs, so those are the slot machine proceeds that go to the state. There's about 9 fund managers statewide. We're one of them. So that allows us to lend statewide. And that is, again, a small women and minority veteran-owned business program that provides loans up to $500,000. And that can be used for most expenses, from working capital to leasehold improvements to real estate acquisition, equipment, you name it. Yeah. We recently started kind of an offshoot of that, which is a microloan program that we're doing smaller loans, but a little bit more targeted to businesses that wouldn't otherwise qualify from a credit perspective, or maybe, just don't have the credit history that's needed to get a more traditional loan, or even some of our larger bulk loans. This program is geared to help them access some level of capital. So we offer $50,000 loans, and we do require that the business has gone through some type of accelerator program like our IVP program. There's other programs throughout the state, though, that businesses could do to qualify. So that's relatively new. We also have some other loan products that are specifically for tech companies, companies that have less than 100 employees and less than 5 million in gross revenues. We do 0% interest loans for them. And we have a community revitalization loan program, 0% loan program. And that goes for basically site improvements. So it's like a facade improvement program, or site improvements for revitalization, beautification in our commercial revitalization areas. There's 11 districts throughout the county. So if you're in one of those districts in some of our older commercial corridors, you could potentially qualify for exterior improvements, 0% interest through a ACR loan. It stands for Arundel Community Reinvestment.
Gotcha. So, I mean, obviously, you guys are doing a lot of educating programs and things like that to help businesses develop, for you guys inside Anne Arundel County. And you also do loans and have some grants and things like that, but you also help more than just that, because you do a lot of stuff with helping people with permitting and stuff like that. I know of some businesses that you guys have helped when they're trying to get permits and being classified incorrectly, and you guys actually go to bat for them to help them. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yes, absolutely. That's another thing we do. So, what we hope is, like, a business wants to come to the county, we're the first people they call, right? Because we can basically assess, okay, well, what do you need? What are your needs? What resources are available to you? And what do you need to know? And so, because we keep tabs on the permitting process, and, some of the challenges that other businesses face, we have a pretty good idea of, things that businesses might need to be aware of in advance. So if it's like, let's say, a zoning issue, it's like, you may want to find out about X, Y, or Z before you proceed in this particular location or this particular storefront, because the zoning, there could be some, zoning issues. My background actually is in planning and development. So I was in charge of planning and zoning for Howard County for the last 8 years.
Okay.
So I started in this position in April. So I'm still learning, the code in Anne Arundel County, but I do have a background in planning and zoning. And so I always, I definitely encourage businesses to come talk to us first so we can help them navigate, right? Because it's complex. There's different departments involved, different departments oversee different pieces of it. And so we can kind of help piece that together, or get the right people in the room to kind of problem solve as, from the forefront, right? Because what happens, more time than not, is we get the call at the end of the day. Someone's having a problem and they're waiting for their use and occupancy permit, and that's when they're calling. And so the more we can get the word about, we should be the first call that you make when you want to start up shop in Anne Arundel County. So we can be so much more effective if we come in the beginning.
Now, so obviously you guys are located in Anne Arundel County, but pretty much every county in Maryland and many states also have a economic development corp that are located there also, correct?
Correct. Yes, I think it's very typical for most jurisdictions, municipalities, and larger counties to have some type of economic development corporation or authority. There are there's different models out there. Sometimes it's embedded in government, like a department, and sometimes it functions outside, like we do.
Right. Now, you guys have a lot of stats that go on inside your jurisdiction, your county. What are some of those stats that you guys have? I mean, I know that I get I think it's a monthly email with, hey, here's all the new businesses that opened this past month in Anne Arundel County. What are some of the other stats that you guys have that people could help business owners use when developing their business or trying to grow their business?
Yeah, so we publish a quarterly economic indicators report where we look at kind of overall employment. We look at jobs, we look at a number of different economic indicators. We look at vacancy rates. We can break that down, commercial vacancy rates between flex space, office space, retail, manufacturing. We do kind of higher level reports that we publish on our website. So if you go to like data and reports, you'll see a number of research papers that we put together. But we can also do customized reports for if somebody wanted to see, vacancy rates, or even if someone wanted to look us to do some site selection work for them, we can do that as well. I'm trying to think what else I was going to
So,
mention.
that's even more if somebody's looking to
Mhm.
start up a business in the county, when it's like, okay, hey, I need this type of demographic for the business that I'm opening. You guys would be the perfect people to come to tell me where in the county would be best to open that type of
We can do
business.
some level of that, right? We can look at some demographic information by, area of the county, by community. There's also this program called Data Axle that the library has available. It's a free program. And what we have tended to do now is refer people to that. It has so much information. And so people call us. So rather than running it for them, we'll teach them how to use it. We'll tell them where it is. We'll explain its capabilities, get them started using it. And then, 10 times out of 10, they call back and they say, this is an amazing resource. Thank you so
Right,
much for letting us know about this.
right.
So we were doing a lot for people, but now we're just, we're kind of teaching them and building their capacity so they can kind of run more customized searches on their own.
Yeah, and again, that goes back to being the best kept secret. I mean,
Yeah.
and it's one of those things that the people don't know what they don't know, and there are a ton of resources that are out there that people just aren't utilizing because they don't know. I guess what are some of the new things that you guys are coming out with in the next year? Do you have any new programs or anything that you plan on doing here in the next year?
So I mentioned the microloan, which we just started. So that will continue through next year. I think one of the things I like to say is we're kind of taking what we do and just taking it to the next level.
Mhm.
Our IBP program, the Business Accelerator program that I mentioned, we are going to be offering that in Spanish next year, starting in
Okay.
June. So we'll do our first cohort all in Spanish. So we're kind of gearing up for that right now. We're still going to run the English versions, but we're trying to offer that obviously in a different language. I'm going to be working on, I want to do an economic development strategic plan for the county. So bringing together stakeholders like yourself in the business community, county departments, Chamber of Commerce, just, elected officials, different categories of stakeholders, bringing them around the table to take a look at, where can economic development play the most impactful role? How can we support other economic development efforts that are going on? So I'm looking to do that probably towards the end of this fiscal year, kick that off. That's something that's very typically done through economic development organizations. When I got here, I was surprised we actually didn't have one. It's a nice roadmap.
Yeah.
So I think, so that'll be something else that I think will help guide some of our, future programming. And the other big thing that I kind of alluded to in the beginning was redevelopment. And so I think we're kind of in a similar spot as many maturing suburban communities in Maryland, right? Where we have older areas in need of reinvestment. We
Yeah.
have housing affordability challenges for sure. We need to house our workforce. We need that missing middle housing. And we need to think about how to best use already developed land where you have infrastructure, you have investment already, but really creating some mixed use opportunities there and reinvesting in to create a sense of place in some of these older commercial corridors and areas. And so we're exploring how we as economic development can best support Anne Arundel County's goals in this area. I know they have some really ambitious goals with their general development plan 2040. And so we're looking at, is there a function for EDC to play in trying to revitalize some of these older commercial areas? We're also talking to some of our regional counterparts about, state legislation that might help us facilitate that. And so that could be an area that we start to delve more into, I would say, over the next year or so. And I think some of the strategic planning work will help define that a little more.
I think it will too. Now, Amy, if people want to learn more about the programs that you have and the data that you have and things like that, how can they find out more about it?
They should go to our website,
Okay.
which is myarundelbiz.org, or it's aaedc.org. Either one will get you there. And when you get there, each kind of program will have a point of contact on there. So if you want to call that specific person to learn about that program, that's probably the best way to do it. You can even just do a web inquiry. We'll get it routed to the right person here. And we'll get we'll connect them with the business development director, depending on, we have different business development directors that specialize in certain sectors. So we have one person that specializes in cybersecurity, technology, everything going on at Fort Meade and the industries that support it. We have a different person specializes in healthcare manufacturing and retail. So kind of depending on where our business development expertise lies, we connect them with a specialist.
Yeah. So listeners, if you're not here in Anne Arundel County, you still have this same resource. So you just have to kind of look for it in your county and in your municipality to find it, but it is there. So Amy, I really appreciate your wisdom and everything that you told us today, because like I said, it's you guys are the best kept secret, which we don't want you to be a secret. We want people to know about you. So I really do appreciate your time today.
And I would say the other thing is, to follow us on LinkedIn or Facebook or Instagram, especially LinkedIn. We're always posting. We like to post about the success of the businesses that we work with. So you'll see a lot of the work that we're doing out in the community, especially on LinkedIn and Facebook.
Great. Really appreciate your time today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Sure. This week, our guest was Amy Gowan, who is the president and CEO of the Anorondo Economic Development Corp. I will see you guys next week.
49 faces looked to him in triumph. Over the last 12 months, they had each taken turns and promoted his business for a week at a time, driving over $987,342 in revenue. What if you had a network of 50 centers of influence who promoted your business every week for a year? Grab your copy of the #1 Amazon best-selling book, The Ultimate Guide to Growing Your Business with a Podcast, at 33% off the Amazon price by going to ultimatepodcastbook.com. Again, that website for 33% off the Amazon price is ultimatepodcastbook.com.